from Steph, he says, "Hey, aloha, Peter. What are the best neighborhoods on Oahu to raise a family with children?" That's like the topic, folks. And the follow-on is from Miguel, who's from Perth Amboy, New Jersey, and says, "What island is the best to live for disabled people, especially in a wheelchair?" Scott, why don't you lead us on this discussion?
Yeah, so with the family with children portion, schools oftentimes become a factor, and I'm kind of the belief that the more space that kind of a more neighborhood feel you might have for family environments, probably a little more conducive. Hawaii Kai has some of the better public schools, and it's a little kind of more micro community just south of Diamond Head, south of Honolulu. That's an excellent option, which you have this community that's already thriving there, but yet you have easy access into Honolulu. Kailua would be another one, beach community, growing up, riding your bike with the kids down to the beach or into town to a lot of the boutique shops and restaurants, and a little more pedestrian friendly, I think would be excellent. As far as disabled and wheelchair, I think it depends more on the healthcare that's needed. A lot of the homes are going to be able to either be modified or handle someone that's disabled or needs wheelchair access. The question is do you need medical services? And if that's the case, especially specialists, then we've talked about this before, Oahu has more of your specialists for the healthcare needs.
Let's take that. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Let's kind of expand this. I mean, it's a general question, so let's take it expand it to each of the islands. So Heidi, if someone said to you, if I'm looking at moving to Maui, because we've had this question earlier, looking to move into Maui with a family, what are some of the areas that you would recommend are good family friendly neighborhoods on Maui?
Yeah, well, there's lots of great places to raise a family on Maui. I mean, I think one of the most important things, as Scott mentioned, is schools and which school that you want to go to. Something about Maui that I learned when I first moved here is even if a place is only maybe 20 miles away, that can mean more than an hour drive in some cases. So I think being close to schools would be a big priority. And then there's certainly neighborhoods, like if you want to have a neighborhood with sidewalks and things, there's a great planned community in central Maui, Lani and Keolani, and they have it's a very family-friendly subdivision. Upcountry is also a really popular area for families with kids. And on West Maui, we have great neighborhoods as well. So, but that definitely does play into the search at the beginning is where somebody's going to go to school and how close do you want to be.
Yeah, great consideration. So Dylan, real quick, if you can quickly kind of share with us, what are the good places for neighborhoods with family and perhaps a consideration for disabled needs?
I would say for families, the vast majority of the Big Island is very good to raise a family at. I would more narrow it down on where you shouldn't go. And, there are a few communities that have more retired people or, complexes that have people who aren't as, going to be as friendly to kids that are screaming and running around and doing what kids do. So that's something I could definitely help with. Is I wouldn't say you should look in these three areas. You should more avoid these three areas would be more the answer that I would give.
That's great. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then on the disabled wheelchair thing, I think in general, I feel like the Big Island, because it's very spread out and rural, it's not a super good, walking pedestrian kind of community. That's not to say it's bad, but it's just not how we're built. We're not, there isn't dense urban centers where you have a lot of places you can walk to or get around in. We have all the ADA laws like you have anywhere else. So you definitely have access to parking and things like that. But I think the most important thing is what Scott was saying, healthcare, and making sure that you have access to the healthcare that you need.
Yeah, and the Big Island's like that rugged sort of out country, yeah. That's kind of just like on the mainland. If you were to go like quote in the middle of nowhere, it's that you might have the gas station will be ADA friendly, but the rest of the entire country, that whole region is rugged.